Hello, you are watching Couch Coaches, the summer edition. I am your host, Billy Trice. So today we're gonna have three topics, and first topic is gonna be the Eastern Conference Finals. Second topic will be the Western Conference Finals, clearly because those are the two major things going on right now in sports, and also a piece of major legislation that was passed regarding sports in a state other than Nevada. So that's what we got coming up today. So to start off, we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals is with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Game one, LeBron didn't have a great game. He had 17 points. Not a game that LeBron normally has. He at the end of that game, he chalked it up, being a fill-out game, and he was just really trying to get a feel of how Boston was going to play him and how they were going to handle it. And so he gave you the sense that he was going to be ready game two and that they were going to basically come out and win game two. That's at least the feeling that I got from what LeBron said in his press conference after the first game. So game two comes. LeBron in the first quarter has 21 points. LeBron was snapping. LeBron was hitting crazy shots, pulling up from three. But the one thing that LeBron did not do was shoot well from the free throw line. He was 5 for 10, 50%. I just don't understand how you're the best player in the world and you shoot 50% from the free throw line. Those are free points. Those are shots that are uncontested and that you shoot on a regular. Guys spend a lot of time day to day shooting free throws. I don't understand how LeBron James goes 5 for 10 in a game. They previously showed LeBron shooting shots earlier that day at like 10:30 a.m., draining three-pointers, draining mid-range shots. But you can't make a majority of more than half of your free throws. You're the best player in the world. You have to do better than that. They lost game two 107-94, but LeBron James did have 42 points. He did have a triple-double. He had 10 rebounds and 12 assists. But here's the kicker. The Cavaliers' full starting five were all in the minus. When looking at plus-minus, they were all in the minus. But when you look at the Celtics and what their starters were able to do, they were all in the plus. Mind you, the Celtics also had all their starters in double figures, while the only person in double figures for the Cavs were LeBron James and Kevin Love. The biggest disappointment, I would say, that happened for the Cavaliers was that J.R. Smith never showed up for this game. He played 27 minutes, which is almost basically two quarters, and he didn't score a point at all. He was 0 for 7 from the field. He was 0 for 4 from the three-point line. He couldn't do anything right. He was a -6 for the game. George Hill, your point guard, was 1 for 4 from the field. Was 0 for 2 from three-point land. Only had 3 points. One of them he got fouled and had to go to the free throw line and went 1 for 2. It was disappointing to watch. And for those two players to play like that, and then Jordan Clarkson not even get any playing time, don't know why. George Hill was not playing phenomenally. Why are you not giving him minutes? I'm confused. The Cavs lost this game because they are not that athletic. It was crazy because when you look at the game, LeBron James and the Cavaliers, they were getting back on defense and still getting blown by the Boston Celtics players. Jaylen Brown blew by Kevin Love and LeBron James several times to score, and J.R. Smith several times to score. I don't understand it. I really don't. Rodney Hood played 11 minutes, was 1 for 2 from the field, had 2 points. Don't understand why he didn't get more minutes. JR wasn't doing anything. He had 3 boards and an assist. That's not anything. Rodney Hood definitely could have gave you way more production than that. I'm sorry. J.R. Smith that whole game was frustrating to me. He was pouting the whole game. He was letting people go wide open. Granted, it wasn't great communication defensively for the Cavaliers, but you cannot pout in games. When things don't go right, you cannot turn on your teammates. And that's what I feel like the whole Cavaliers team did. They turned on each other. They're not a real team. And I tweeted this last night watching the game. I felt as though the Cavaliers are a team where LeBron James went to the park and just picked up random guys that he wanted to play with and is just carrying that team and trying to play with them. It's just random guys on a team playing together trying to win. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like a team. When you look at the Boston Celtics look cohesive. They look team-oriented. Their coach calls plays. They run the plays. Things happen in a certain order and manner. The Cavaliers look so dysfunctional, and that's the true difference between the series. The Celtics believe in one another and believe that each and every one of them can succeed. The Cavaliers don't. When LeBron James went for 21 in the first quarter, everything was good. They were good. But then when the Celtics started putting some pressure on them, started hitting shots, they started turning on each other. And that's the difference between these two teams, and that's the key difference between this series. I don't think the Cavaliers are gonna win and pull this out. I think the Celtics are going to end up going to the finals. Granted, I thought the Cavs were gonna blow the Celtics out the water, but again, I feel like it was a little resentment because my Sixers just got beat by them, and I just was trying to hop on LeBron's bandwagon and hope that he could, revenge us and beat the Boston Celtics just for my liking. But when I really look at it and I'm being objective, I don't see that happening. They're not a good team. They're not team-oriented. They're horrific on the defensive end. Granted, they played decently in the first half, but like you saw in the second half, they weren't anything. They played horrendously. They just were letting them shoot. Terry Rozier started to go off in the third quarter. Al Horford made big buckets in the first half and in the second half. It was just bad. LeBron James can't do it all by himself. And Kevin Love showed up too. Look, Kevin Love had 22 points. Granted, he was a -10, and LeBron was a -9. But he did have 15 rebounds, and he did have 2 assists. And he was 9 for 18 from the field, 50%. He did shoot 2 for 6 from three-point land, but he was shooting threes at one point just for them to stay in the game. They need something. They don't even have respect for Tyronn Lue, which is bad because Tyronn Lue is not a bad coach. They really need to have faith in him. At times, I feel like LeBron needs to step back and needs to let Tyronn Lue just be the coach. But when you have LeBron James, who's such a great player and has such a great basketball IQ and basically runs your team, it's hard. There's so many egos and so many rifts in the Cavs organization that I don't even feel like they can be a team. They can't even fix this, and that's why I feel like LeBron James is going to leave. And there's no space for him right now in Cleveland. It's so dysfunctional, and I don't see any success coming from it. I don't know. Me personally, I just don't see it happening. I think Cavaliers will find a way to win a few games. I'm thinking Celtics in 6. Celtics in 6. And, the Cavs are going to find a way to win 2 games, Boston will have a crazy turnover game that, they had several times in this playoff so far. And LeBron will find a way to exploit that, and Kevin Love will too, and they'll find a way to win a few. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think they will. But, I don't want to totally count out LeBron because, he is the best player in the world. He is one of the greatest players to ever play. So he does have a chance to he did come back 3-1 against the Warriors. So, LeBron can basically do anything. But realistically, I don't feel like he has a chance. But moving on to Boston, I want to talk a little bit more about Boston. Boston's surprising me right now. Brad Stevens, he might be the best coach, seriously, in the NBA. And here's why. He's got a whole bunch of nobodies playing at the top of their level. Think about this. Al Horford, when he was in Atlanta, was an average player at best. And now he's got Al Horford in the Eastern Conference Finals playing high-level minutes and playing at a very high level. Al Horford had 15 points last night, and he was a plus 14. He also had 10 boards and 4 assists. And was 1 for 4 from the three-point line. And was 5 for 13 from the field. Great. He did a great job. Jaylen Brown, second year in the league. 23 points. Was a plus 10. Had 7 boards. 3 assists. Played magnificently. Mind you, he's only in his second year. Tatum had an average game. He only had 11 points. He was 5 for 12 from the field and 1 for 3 from the three-point line. Granted, I wish that was the Jason Tatum that came out in the Sixers series, but that's besides the point. The Sixers couldn't find a way to get him to play at that level. But I guess LeBron James and having a little more athletic J.R. Smith on him helped their cause defensively against him. But that's besides the point. Getting back to the series at hand, Boston's just playing out of their mind. They play so well together. Terry Rozier is a problem. He comes up. Well, sorry, he did start. He had 18 points, was a plus 6. He was 2 for 8 from the three-point line. He was 7 for 16 from the field. He did have 5 boards and 2 assists. Solid game from Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is their spark plug. He is the guy that in the second half gets them over whatever hump that they're going through. There was a point in the game in the second half that the Celtics didn't score for 3-4 minutes. And then somehow Terry Rozier comes and lights it up. Gets a crazy dunk in transition, hits wide open three-pointers like he should. He does the things that his team needs in order to win. And they're so scrappy. And when we talk about scrappy players, you can't miss Marcus Smart. At the end of the half, they're down by double digits. He grabs the ball, gives a great assist to Marcus Morris. He gets a layup, brings it down to 8. Then LeBron James gets the ball from the inbound, tries to throw a pass. He intercepts the ball, gives a great assist, and now they're only down by 6 going into the half. That's a 4-point swing in a playoff game to get you back in striking distance, to be only down 2 possessions. That's a big play. Marcus Smart is a great big part of the success of the Celtics. Granted, he's not the best shooter. Granted, he's not the best player on this team, but he is very important to their success. But bar none, Brad Stevens is the reason why the Boston Celtics are successful, and I have to give them their credit. There is one thing that I do want to talk about, though. I do want to talk about the play where J.R. Smith pushes Al Horford in the air. Yes, that was a dirty play. There's no way around it. I'm glad they didn't give him a flagrant 2. I didn't think it was that much of a flagrant 2 because it wasn't a malicious push, but it was a push where it wasn't a basketball play. He wasn't going for the ball. He literally was just trying to foul him. Granted, what's the difference between grabbing LeBron James when he's trying to go up? You're not making a basketball play there. And when that play happens, most guys don't get a flagrant 1 for that. It's a common foul. So I kind of feel like there should be a common ground here. If you're not going to call that to be a flagrant 1, then maybe you really shouldn't call J.R. Smith's play a flagrant 1 because he's just trying to keep him from scoring the easy bucket. Because, of course, the Cavs got caught in bad defense again. Wasn't the first time the whole night. But I just don't understand. I will agree that it was a bad play. It was a dirty play, and it's a dangerous play because Al Horford could have really hurt himself. Then again, J.R. Smith didn't really push him crazy hard, and I feel like J.R. Smith did that on, he wanted to push him just enough so that he wouldn't make the shot but not hurt himself. But granted, it still shouldn't have happened. It's not a good play. I definitely commend Marcus Smart for coming to his teammates' defense. But I thought it was funny how J.R. Smith was basically telling Marcus Smith that he wasn't like that. So it was. I thought that that was comical. But that was my viewpoint on the Celtics series so far and what went on with that. Moving on, I want to talk about the Western Conference Finals. So you got the Rockets and you got the Warriors. The first game, to be honest, let me give an overview just on how I feel about this series from the jump. From the jump, I just feel like the Warriors are too much. Who in Houston is gonna guard Kevin Durant? It's he's 7 foot, can shoot, can drive, can play defense, is a great defender, can play multiple positions, 3 through 5. Really, 2 through 5. So all 5 positions. What am I talking about? He can play all 5 positions if we're being completely honest. But nobody, look, if you put Clint Capella on him, he's going to make him look like a fool and drive on him and bang on him and maybe just also pull up. If he step back, pull up, that's also an option. If you put any of the other guards on him, he's shooting over them. It's like a shooting over a chair. It's like a chair drill. You know, guys who play basketball know what that drill I'm talking about. You know, you have a chair there and you just shoot. It's like open jump shots. They don't have anybody to stop him. And that's why I feel like the Warriors are just going to go away with this series. They play tonight. I do think the Warriors are going to win again in Houston. But look, James Harden that night, he played out of his mind. James Harden had 41 points. Granted, he was a -7, but he was 14 for 24 from the field. He was 5 for 9 from three-point range, which is insane. He had 4 boards and 7 assists. Definitely a calm game for him. Chris Paul had 23 points. He was a -7. Also, he was 2 for 7 from three-point range. Didn't shoot too well, but he was 8 for 17 from the field, which is kind of calm. But you know, he needed to play a little bit better. He did have 11 boards though, which was kind of insane. Being 6 foot and being a point guard, he had 11 boards, but he only had 3 assists. That's not Chris Paul. Chris Paul's normally in your 5 assist range. That's what I normally like to see from Chris, and that's when he's playing at an ultimately high level, is when he has those 5 assists. When we look back at what Kevin Durant did in that first game, man, did he play well. He had 37 and was a +11. He was 14 for 27 from the field, 3 for 6 from the three-point line, 50%, and he made all of his free throws. Klay Thompson snapped 28 points, 9 for 18 from the field. He was 6 for 15 from three-point range. 15 three-pointers he attempted? That's just insane. But that's the type of game that the Warriors play. They play the run and gun, but it works for them because they have shooters. The problem and why the Rockets will not succeed and why they won't win the series is because of the way they play. They play isolation ball. It's a lot of guys to the side and James Harden isoing and going to the cup and then kicking out. I want to see more action on the backside. I want to see more of those guys making back cuts, setting backdoor screens, things of that nature to keep the Golden State defense active on the backside so they can't come over and help. Because a lot of times, James Harden's at the top of the key and they're running ISO plays and Golden State's easily just sagging off and playing help defense. Granted, you know, they don't really need to play help defense as much because they do have great perimeter defenders and a Klay Thompson. And it doesn't really matter if they switch. But also, the Rockets are trying to switch. They are switching, trying to get Curry by himself. But when they do that, they're allowing Kevin Durant to sag off a little bit and help down low. And Draymond Green to help down low. So, I don't know. I get what the Rockets are trying to do. They're trying to exploit that Curry doesn't play good defense. But I feel like they gotta get more motion involved. They gotta get less ISO ball and chew up some more of that clock. The Rockets were up at a decent point in this game, but the Golden State Warriors can shoot lights out and can come back anytime they want with the 3-ball. So the key to beating Golden State is kind of chewing up that clock. It's kind of like how in football where you use the running game to keep Tom Brady off the field. It's the same type of thing. You want to use the clock, have good offensive sets, run good plays and get good shots off to keep Golden State from having the ball and less time on the clock. That's how you beat Golden State. And you slow the game down. And I don't think the Rockets are going to be able to do that and play at a high level too at the same time. So that is why I believe that the Warriors will win this series. Tonight, I feel like the Warriors are going to come out and win. They're not going to have an answer for KD. The only way I see the Rockets winning is if KD just shoots horrendously and Curry and Clay shoot bad too. Like, that's the only way I see them winning, which can happen because that can happen any given night where, shooters just, can't hit a shot. It happens, But if I'm going to be completely honest and where my gut is right now, and if I was a betting man and if I was putting money on this game, I would say that the Golden State Warriors are going to win tonight. Speaking of betting, there has been a new law that has been passed in the state of New Jersey where sports betting is now legal. So, you know how in Nevada sports betting is legal and it's been the only state where it has been legal. Now, New Jersey is the first state other than Nevada to have legal sports betting in their state. So basically the rule is that it's now up to all the states whether or not that they want it to be legal. I think it's up to now like 12 or 15 states that are now thinking about creating that law to where it be legal. It's a big cash cow. Nevada makes a lot of money off of this. They've made a record amount of money in a year off of just sports betting. Mind you, Las Vegas makes a lot of money in betting in general, and for them to make a record number just in sports betting, it means a lot. To be honest, my opinion on this is that I think it's good. I like it. I don't know. I think it's about time. But here's my thing. And I was on Twitter, and Josh Hart of Villanova, who plays for the Lakers now, alumni of Villanova, I should say, he tweeted out saying that if you're able to now bet on college sports, you have to pay those players. And I definitely agree with that. Because now people at home can make a profit off these kids, and these kids playing the game are the only ones not making money. Like, people who are just watching the game can now make money off of them, which is crazy ironic that the people actually doing the sport and actually creating all this revenue for everyone else are not getting a cut. And that's just that's just unacceptable. That's just not okay. These kids deserve a cut, and I feel like now that sports betting is legal, that they should get a cut. But I feel like sports betting is also a great correlation to weed in this country, marijuana. Sports betting wasn't legal because corporate America couldn't find a way to make money off of it. And now I feel like the world and our country is ready, and they found a way to make it acceptable, and I feel like they found a way to make it acceptable, and they found a way to make money off of it corporately. So now it's okay. Like, once they find a corporate way to make weed legal, weed's gonna be everywhere and be legal. Like, seriously, like once they find a way to make money off of it, and like the government get a cut and stuff like that, it's gonna be legal. Because Colorado, they're making crazy money off taxes, like millions of dollars, like crazy money off of weed. So I feel like that's the same thing with sports betting. Sports betting is gonna be crazy. States are gonna get in it. But there is one state that will never be a part of sports betting, and it's the state of Utah. I remember I was listening to WIP a few like last week, and they were saying how when the story first dropped that the state of Utah, in their like Declaration of Independence, kind of like one of their like I guess founding laws of Utah is that sports betting is not legal. Like, you can't bet in Utah. So that is a rule. So if you live in Utah, sorry, you got to go somewhere else to do sports betting. But all the other 49 states are fair game to sports betting now, and it's pretty cool. And I like the idea, and I like that people can now do it because people were doing it anyway. Like it's like prohibition. Like people were still getting drunk and tipsy and drinking alcohol, even though it was illegal in the speakeasies and stuff. But now it's just now everybody knows about it. Now it's legal, that type of thing. But so that was my view on sports betting. But thank you guys for watching this video, and please subscribe.